Hello students. In the previous class, we had studied the harmful microorganisms and how they are harmful to humans, plants and animals. We'll continue with the next topic, that is food poisoning. You have mostly heard people saying that because of eating outside food or because of eating some unwanted or unnecessary some spoiled food, if it is eaten, then they might have got food poisoning. So what is food poisoning actually? How is it caused? So, food poisoning is caused due to the consumption of food spoiled by some microorganisms. Some microorganisms, if suppose you have kept food for 2 days, so in 2 days that microorganism it starts sitting on that food and it starts growing. So, if you eat that food, the microorganisms which are harmful may get inside your body and they may spoil your digestion, and you may get food poisoning. So that is why you are not supposed to eat spoiled food or the food which is outside, which is kept open outside and all. You should not eat. Okay, so that is called food poisoning, when a food which is spoiled by microorganisms is consumed by you, and that microorganism causes disturbance in your digestion. So that is called food poisoning. Microorganisms that grow on our food sometimes produces toxic substances. So why this microorganism is harmful? Because it is producing some toxic substances. Toxic means poisonous substance. It is producing some poisonous substances which is getting inside your body when you eat that food. You might have seen when bread is kept for longer time outside, it you might have seen some gray deposit on it. That is actually the bread mold, which is coming under fungi. So that is again a microorganism. You should not eat such spoiled food. So these substances make the food poisonous, causing serious illness and even death, and in severe cases it may even cause death. So that is why food needs to be preserved. So there are many techniques that is followed so that you preserve the food. Preserve the food means you are making the food protected from these microorganisms, so that food is kept fresh for a longer time. Okay, so let's see what are the different methods of food preservation. You might have seen your mother making pickles and all, or making papad, drying it in the hots, and all these are different methods of preservation. So we'll see those methods one by one. First, chemical method. It is the common preservative. Here the common preservative that is used is salt, edible oil and acid preservatives. These are added to pickles to prevent the attack of microbes. In pickles, usually what is added? All the more of salt is added. Then oil, vinegar, that is an acid. Vinegar is acetic acid. Vinegar is added. So that will prevent the attack of microbes. That's why these things are added. Sodium benzoate and sodium metabisulfate are common preservatives. You might have seen, if you buy some pickle and all from the market, if you buy it, just see the ingredients that are written in it. You will find these would also be written in some of the pickles. You might find that these names are written: sodium benzoate, sodium metabisulfate. So these are actually preservatives. They are common preservative used in jams and squashes to check their spoilage. So usually the sodium benzoate and sodium metabisulfate, you can see, you just check jams and squash bottle. Mostly in that you will find that this is written sodium benzoate and sodium metabisulfate would be written in that. Common salt, I don't know, this amla, no, amla is, you might have seen in roadside. Sometimes amla is kept in salt water, and people they sell it. That is actually a way of preserving amla. So common salt, it is a very good method of preserving things. So here salt is used to preserve meat and fish. You might have seen on fishes some white deposit would be there. That is actually the salt in which it had been kept. Ice is there. Ice is also a way of preserving them. It is also kept in salt. Used to preserve meat and fish to check the growth of bacteria. Salting is used to preserve amla, as I said now, raw mangoes, tamarind, etc. Tamarind also you might have seen there would be a white deposit on that. That is actually the salt which is used to preserve it. Preservation by sugar. Of course, you love to eat jams, jellies, and all, no, squashes. All those are squashes, and all squashes bottle. They say like pineapple juice and mango juice. Squashes are there. So juice and all, long time. How can you? It is preferable to drink fresh juice, but when you go for a market product where you are drinking juice and all, you just see the ingredient that is written there. There would be some preservative added to it. Similarly, squashes also. How are they able to be used for such a long time? Because there are some preservatives added along with sugar. So the main thing there is sugar. Also, sugar is also used to preserve. Jams, jellies, and squashes are preserved by sugar. Sugar reduces the moisture content, which inhibits the growth of bacteria, which spoil food. So if moisture is there, as I told you in when we were doing the lesson, this one crop production, when we are storing the grain, there should not be any moisture, because bacteria or microorganisms will attack it. So similarly here, that is what is said. We should try to reduce the moisture. If you try to reduce the moisture, bacteria will not attack. So by adding sugar, we are trying to reduce the moisture. Preservation by oil and vinegar. As I told you, in pickles and all, oil and vinegar is used. So oil and vinegar, they prevent spoilage of pickles, because bacteria cannot live in such environment, since it is an acidic environment. No, vinegar is acetic acid. So since it is an acidic it is giving an acidic environment to it. So bacteria cannot live in such environment. Vegetable, fruits, fish, and meat are often preserved by this method. By adding oil and vinegar, they are preserved. Heat and cold treatment. So the main thing, you are supposed to drink boiled water, right? Because boiling kills many microorganisms. Similarly, when you get milk, you boil it. Okay, so all this, why are you boiling it? To kill the microorganisms. So boiling kills many microorganisms. So that is one way of preserving, that is heat treatment. Cold treatment. Food is kept in refrigerator. You have some food, you have vegetables and all, you keep it in the fridge so that it doesn't spoil quickly. So that is one way of preserving, that is cold treatment is one way of preserving, because too much of heat and too little of temperature, too high temperature and too low temperature, bacteria cannot survive in that. Bacteria survive in a normal temperature. They cannot survive if the temperature is too high or if the temperature is too low. Then there is a word which is called pasteurization. Pasteurization, you might have seen in milk packets, pastured milk is written. Now what is it? What is pasteurization? The process of heating the milk to about 70 degrees centigrade. First, the milk is heated to about 70 degrees centigrade for 15 to 30 seconds, and then suddenly it is chilled. Chilled means it is made cold. Suddenly it is chilled and then it is stored. So this is called pasteurization. So that is why you get pastured milk. Okay, so what is pasteurization? The process of heating milk to 70 degrees Celsius for 15 to 30 seconds and then suddenly chilling it and storing it. It prevents the growth of microbes, and this was discovered by Louis Pasteur. That's Louis Pasteur, Louis. Don't say it as Louis, it is Louis Pasteur. So this is an important definition which you should remember, pasteurization. Then another method of food preservation, storage and packing. You get lot of canned food, right? Canned food, you get chips and all in cans. Sometimes you get dry fruits in cans. All why packing is done in such a manner so that air, it does not get moisture from outside, and the microorganisms don't start sitting on that food. They don't start spoiling the food. So dry fruits and even vegetables are sold in sealed airtight packets. Since it is sealed, air cannot enter inside, moisture cannot enter inside, so the bacteria will not attack the food, so to prevent the attack of microbes. So these are the different ways of food preservation. Okay, to prevent our food from spoilage. So this is all for today. In the next class, we will be studying nitrogen fixation, which is a very important topic. We will study in the next class.